Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the men's room.
And away we go. Welcome to show number 2838. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, D. Ted Smith, Robin Fox, and my cock. And you are in the men's room. On tap today, here come the bad jokes, bitches. The return of Ted versus the FCC. Get ready to play Profile This. Plus headlines, men's room shot of the day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted.
Click, clack, jinkity, junk.
All right, here we go as we go to Miami, where a Miami man is busted for peeing in public with 25 silver balls attached to his face. Meanwhile, a woman is lost in Joshua Tree National Park for 3 days and drank her own urine with dignity and grace. So it tasted like flat beer.
Got a beer she drink? I have a guess.
Yeah.
I have a guess.
Australian valet's driving skills piss off porch owner, to say the least. A car dealership boss created misery at workplace with his gaseous gut bomb beasts. And NFL star comes to the rescue of attractive ASU grad in airport. Because someone has to do that. That's all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. Our friendly reminder, Father's Day is coming up soon. So, with it being Father's Day, if you're looking for that disappointing gift to replace the #1 dad mug or the ugly necktie, Kraft Foods has you covered with their line of, and I'm not making this up, meat-scented candles. So if you enjoy the smell of delicious meat that you're not going to eat, well, these candles, they're just for you. Smells. Smells say a lot. For example, in Massachusetts, a man got pulled over for a broken taillight. And thanks to the thick stink emanating from his home, authorities also discovered that he was a multiple murderer. We'll get to his story, but maybe he could have covered the smell of dead bodies with those meat-scented candles. Passengers on a recent flight from the Netherlands to Portugal, they probably would have appreciated those candles as well. Their flight was diverted after passengers started puking and fainting because of what they're calling a, quote, unbearable stench. That unbearable stench belonged to an unwashed man. One of the passengers smelled so bad that every other passenger on the plane actually suffered basically a response to his stink, and he explained he simply had not bathed in weeks. What he did not explain is why he hadn't bathed in weeks. But we'll share that story coming up. Thing about this is, man, smells. Some are good, some are bad, but sometimes somebody smells something and, well, frankly, there's a little explaining to do. And that's what today's question is all about. This is all we want to know. What was the source of the smell?
Be part of the big show. Call 844-999-OLA. You can like The Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send your emails to themensroom@mensroomlive.com. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
All the shows, and away we go. Welcome to show number 2838. What a large and in charge program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat. Bad jokes on the way. As the drunk in charge Ryan Castle will be in to kick off the bad jokes. We'll do that right before we drink and toast with a shot of the day. Another exciting Ted versus the FCC. As Ted tries to get another one into the win column profile, this is coming up. And today we're going to talk about things that smell. And we start with this fine gift from A1 Steak Sauce. As you know, A1 is that's the gold standard when you say as far as steak sauces are concerned.
100%. I think it's the most popular and most common.
All right. I do like, most people, it's always been insulting if there is steak sauce out, because according to the chef, his steak normally does not need steak sauce. However, I grew up in the type of home where typically the meat that we had that was considered steak was tenderized with a hammer for at least a half an hour before you ate it. And A1 was just an acquired taste, something that you always had with meat, because typically the meat that we had wasn't that great.
I was going to say, look, there's a difference. When your mom's up there, it sounds like she's a hitman or, trying to slap information out of a prisoner, and they're tenderizing your dinner with a spiked hammer.
Yes.
I fully expect that A1 is going to join us. Mm-hmm.
It's somewhere between Salisbury steak and just
what you doing?
Crap.
I'm just getting dinner ready.
But A1 is
the cow. Are you killing the cow? No, just the meat is tough.
We used to put it on the potatoes too.
Oh, sure.
Man. A1 on the potatoes?
Yeah, like when I was a kid, my uncle seemed like once a summer would like have the whole grill full of steaks and then baked potatoes up top, and then that was the thing. You let's put A1 on this too.
Well, a good steak sauce should go with anything you're going to eat that accompanies the steak, right?
Yeah.
Someplace, I can't remember, it was Red Robin or somebody, they had...
the A1 peppercorn burger?
Yes. That's exactly the burger that I was thinking of. How did you know?
Because it's
I don't like it.
Oh, it's great.
It's obvious that I've never had it
it's
or enjoyed
fantastic.
it.
It's fantastic. Oh, anyway, well, let's not talk about their food. We can talk about food all day. They said now is the time of the year when panic sets in over what to get that special dad in your life for Father's Day. And if you're anything like me, that gift is often a piece of printed paper with a gift that they would have been opening on Father's Day if I were to get it there on time. Now, A1, a steak sauce produced by Kraft Foods, is selling meat-scented candles, and you're going to want to get the 3-pack. They have the burger candle, the meat candle, and the barbecue candle, which are now available. So you can choose between burgers, backyard barbecue, or original meat scents that will fill your home with the aroma of fresh beef.
Do you want to smell that if you're not going to eat it?
Not really.
Right. I mean, there's nothing wrong. In theory, I mean, it's kind of dumb, but I don't want to be like, man, oh man, it smells like a delicious steak in here. We're not having steak.
But think about it. We do it all the time. Maybe not us, but maybe somebody else you live with. Like, there's cookie flavored candles.
See, I don't like
There's
that.
a lot of food flavored candles.
There are vanilla, coconut.
But I feel that they go with things, like sweet stuff, but not meat.
Now, if they had a candle that was like Kingsford charcoal candle, that smelled like Kingsford charcoal, when you walk by the quaff of someone just fired up the grill.
To me, it's the same thing.
Oh, to me, I'm just like, I got to get home and fire I got to get some meat.
That's my point.
Right.
I don't want to smell something in my house that smells like something I'd like to eat without me actually eating it.
Each candle could be yours for the low price of $14.99. That's a bit steep for a candle, don't you think?
Just cook some meat for cheaper.
Dude, candles are expensive.
Fred Meyer, I get cheaper candles. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you just cook meat, get the same smell, and have a delicious meal when you're done.
Yep, absolutely. I've got this weird... Well, anyway. Bodies were found in the home of a madman after he is pulled over for a taillight. This is kind of a crazy story. Police found 3 bodies at the home of a man charged with kidnapping a woman in Massachusetts after investigators outside were met with, quote, a miserable stench emanating from the restaurant, according to authorities. Stuart Weldon, who was arrested Sunday after getting pulled over for a broken taillight. Right. Remained held on $1 million bail on kidnapping and other charges after a woman in his car said he had held her captive for a month and raped her repeatedly in a Springfield home.
Jeez.
Thank you guys for saving my life, the woman hysterically told police. I didn't think I was ever going to get away. 2 bodies were later found inside and near Weldon's home late on Wednesday, 3 days after his arrest. A 3rd body was found Thursday at the single-family home situated on a very busy street in a dense residential section of the city. The smell radiating from the home was, quote, overpowering. It was very noticeable and pungent. That could be detected from the front of the home. It was a miserable stench in there. He declined to comment on where exactly the bodies were found, when investigators believe the victims were killed, as well as the manners of their death. A medical examiner working to try to figure all of that out. He pled not guilty to the kidnapping charges, has not been charged in connection with the bodies in the current investigation, but investigators were continuing to process the scene and get everything put together. The woman in Weldon's car told police he beat her with a hammer and told her that he was going to kill her. She was crying uncontrollably when Weldon, who was armed with 2 knives, was taken into custody. But keep in mind, he was pulled over for a broken taillight.
Yeah.
And then all this led to that, and then the stench emanated from the home, which found the 3 bodies. Our question,
Smell it.
What was the source of the smell? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Grim. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola. How you feeling today, Grim?
Yeah.
He's feeling yes,
Yep.
Miles.
Are you feeling okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I feel like every day would be just a little bit more difficult if you're Grim.
No, my nickname's Awesome.
Oh, that's a nickname.
Yeah.
So why did you get the nickname Grim?
Name is Jeff, and it's my initials are GR, and it's stuck with me since high school. They called me Grim Reaper.
Ah, okay. So it's not your demeanor, like your cat. Every time you open your mouth,
you don't have resting bitch face or something.
No.
Okay. All right, gotcha.
So when I went to college in Montana, I made good friends with this guy named Eric, and I decided to pull a prank on him. I pulled a hard-boiled egg from the cafeteria, and I put it under his bed, and I forgot all about it. And for months, he thought his roommate Hans was just smelling up the entire place.
Hans? He had a roommate named Hans?
Yeah.
I assure
Hans,
you,
yeah.
it is not from my blowhole. I know my stink. That is not it.
Was he from Germany? Was Hans from Germany?
So 6 months go by, and I get a text from him going, "Why is there half an egg under my bed, you jerk?" And I said, "Half an egg? I put a whole egg there 6 months ago."
What? So why is there only half an egg left?
We think that Hans might have ate it when he was sleepwalking.
No. Like, for real?
Yeah, Hans would sleepwalk, and I bumped into him in the hall at like 2 in the morning, and I'm like, "Go back to bed." And he'd be like mumbling half. He couldn't even understand him.
Did your buddy get you back? Because typically when you play these games, there's going to be something that's going to happen to your property. Did he retaliate in any way?
He greased my door handle.
That's not the worst.
It's not the worst.
No, it's not the worst.
He didn't have the imagination like I did.
Anyone ever talk to Hans? Like, "Hey man, how you feeling? Because you may have eaten half of a 6-month-old egg."
Yeah, he was like so mad because he got blamed for the smell.
I did not live in a dormitory when I was 18 years old, but I had a couple friends that did, and there was a spat over something. And the way that the dormitory worked was, I want to say that there were 3 or 4 rooms where 2 people lived together, and in between those were just a toilet and a sink.
Yeah.
And then at some point in time, somewhere down the hallway in that little area, there was a shower, a communal shower for everybody to use the shower. So the showers were separate from the bathroom. You did have your own individual toilet in between the 2 rooms and a sink, but for the showers, they were down the hall that everybody used. So everybody's kind of in this weird communal area, or they have access to a communal area. Either way, it is the winter break. You're going to go away for a month or so, and something had gone down with my friend Brett and another guy named Troy. And they were not living together, but they were in the same communal area. I'm not exactly sure, but this thing had been festering for a while, and Brett had had enough. So the one thing that Troy loved more than anything in the world, and he is that guy. I guarantee you, if you saw Troy today, he would look like Mike Reno from Loverboy. He'd be wearing a bandana. He would be riding on the back of a jet ski. You know what I mean? Like, he is that guy with a Smirnoff Ice in his hand.
Right.
And then he would tow it home in his Jeep. He's that dude. Well, Brett got pissed off at him, but his prized possession was his huge Piranha tank. And this tank was a big-ass tank. It was 50, 60. I mean, however the big ones were, I don't think that was even allowed to be in the dorm. Either way, it was. It was there. And these fish actually just moved back and forth in the most intimidating way, like in a school.
Yeah, because they're piranha.
So Brett got pissed off. He pulled every one of those piranha out of there, and he filleted them, and he laid them on the counter. In front of...
Is he like serial killer weird, man, when he gets... I've been mad at him, but I never thought I'm going to fillet... Well, any living creature.
Outdoor, kind of, like he could disappear guy. Weird.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Like a survivalist?
Yeah, he's got that more instinct to him. But he
got his piranha disappeared.
Yeah. He filleted these fish, man, because he was so pissed off, but never said he did it. Even to this day, I know he did it. Everybody knows he did it. He will still to this day not come. I will see him in a month and I'll go, "Brett, do you remember when you filleted Lemley's piranhas?" And I'll go, "Nope." And he's the only one that he'll smile and go, "Nope, that wasn't me."
Do you know that he did it?
Yeah.
Everybody
do it? No, but he's not a good liar. He's never admitted to it, but his body language says, "You know it was me, but I will never utter the words that I did it." But they had to, the kids who were on that floor, took a couple days, they couldn't move back in. They had to go and they had to basically bleach the floors and everything else just to get the smell out.
Yeah, because there's filleted saltwater
It'd been in there for over a month.
Yeah.
So it was, and it was, thank God it was cold. Thank God it was December, because if it was in the heat of the summer, man, it would have been.
Do you remember?
What was the source of the smell? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Daniel. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola. So,
hey.
yeah.
Yeah. I like to do a lot of catfishing, right? So I buy these chicken livers. I use them one night, stick them in the back of my truck in a bucket, and just completely forget about them for probably, 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And by the second week, you could just smell it coming out of the back of my truck. It was so bad. And when I finally threw them away, it was in the company dumpster.
How bad did the company dumpster smell? I mean, did they send out a memo?
That sounds like a bad nickname, by the way.
Company dumpster. I dated her.
I hate to say, but of the people I work with, I already figured out who I think it is.
Who the company dumpster is?
Yeah, have you said the company dumpster?
I think I do too.
I'm just saying.
I know what you're talking about.
I bet you pictured the exact same.
We have a big company, by the way.
Right.
So many people. So would you only take your truck every once in a while? It was just your play around vehicle? Is that why you forgot about him? Hello? And he's gone.
Wow.
That was amazing.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mike Carr.
No, Mike even had warnings like, hey, just, something seems a little off. And he put that up there.
All right, so the seafood thing's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because,
yes.
All right, so, in some areas, you have bigger crabs, like a Dungeness crab.
Right.
Like in Maryland, you have Maryland blue crabs. So you go out, you eat a bunch of crabs. Me and my cousins, when we were kids, 12, 13, we got in this habit of picking all the meat. And then, because you go to a place, that's all you can eat. And we would pick all the meat and kind of put it in a cup and maybe take it with us or eat it there. So you just enjoy it all at once. So my cousin Tom did this. And I want to say my Uncle Timmy had 2 or 3 different minivans. One of them just never died, so he kept driving it. So they took that one to the crab place. So I don't know how long the span of days or weeks was, but he left that cup of crab meat underneath the seat.
Man.
Right. You can imagine it's summertime, it's hot and humid. It's the same thing, but when they get back in that car, it's like they couldn't even get in it.
Nothing smells worse than that. Cousins that dropped a crab, it was dead, in their car. They couldn't find, same thing, during a heat wave, it was there for 3 days. They could not find the crab. But when you open the door to this car, I imagine it's what it's like if someone has a dead body on their trunk.
Yeah.
It just smells like death, and there's flies everywhere just buzzing around the car. Seafood is not. And I think crab, in my experience, and I don't know if this to be true, but it seems like as far as seafood that we would eat, crab, for whatever reason, smells worse than any other one when it starts going south.
Well, it's funny, too, because steamed crabs with, Old Bay and stuff, I think nothing smells better.
Delicious.
But nothing smells worse than the back of a crab place.
That's true.
In the alley.
If you walk around
summer,
front, you want to eat. You walk around back, you're like, we're not eating there, man.
What was the source of the smell? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Matt. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So I drive for Lyft to make some extra money, and I picked a kid up one time, and he looked a little disheveled, but whatever, it happens. And gets in my car and says, "I'm sorry, a dog," and I said, "It's cool, man. I got 2 dogs. Breeds on me for stinky people." And he said, "Well, more specifically."
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
yes.
We missed the last part. More specifically,
Dog S. And I looked at him, and he said, "Oh, it's not on my shoe, it's on my sock."
Okay.
Did he
This
explain
kid
how?
had stepped in a pile of dog shoes on. And under my car.
What is going on
Damn
today?
it, man.
Yeah, no, we're going to have to let you go.
It's phone. Every time he's going to say
Is it
something
not?
that I think would be entertaining. It is kind of amazing. How do you get dog ass on your sock but not your shoe?
Man, I saw something today in the bathroom that I'd never seen before, so poop has already amazed me today.
It is amazing, and it is
Someone pooped upward.
Where?
In a bowl. They streaked the bowl up on the top, sideways, on the side. The turd would have had to come out the side and shot upward and then scrape the side with chalk and then drop down in. It's the damnedest thing ever. Like a balloon that you let go when it's full of
right. It just goes everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. And you got to remember, we don't have swirling flushing. It just goes straight down.
Right. Which, man, the swirl comes in, because sometimes you make a bigger mess than you thought, and you're like, ooh, the swirl has cleaned this up handsomely.
Nothing worse than getting crap on yourself, though, because you'll see it, like, if you're walking down the street, there's always somebody who walks their dog and they poop on the sidewalk, and
you see how many
they don't
people
have a bag to pick it up, or somebody's already walked through or whatever, but at night, you can't see that. So it's always like, it always happens like when I'm walking home, I'm like, oh, God, and then I have to scrub all the, man.
I think my favorite thing with you was back when you smoked, you're walking your dog, you pick up your dog's turds, you're walking back home, you're wearing flip-flops, I believe. You put your cigarette out, or so you think you do, drop it in the poop bag, realize the cigarette has now lit a bag of S on fire, but you're in the middle of the city, and now in flip-flops, you have to drop this flaming bag of S and stomp it out.
Stomp it out.
Yeah, that's
with flip-flops on.
Sorry,
I mean,
man.
that was the most disgusting. It's basically like it was so squishy, but it was like I was spreading liquid flaming. It was always like lava.
Right.
It had the consistency of the squish, but the squish was on fire, which made no sense to me.
Let's poop.
But every time I'd spread it, the flames would spread farther out. So I had to keep stomping it, man. Like sometimes, man, by the time I was all said and done, it was like squirting out like when a baker puts icing on a
the little pastry
bag. Yeah, it's like coming out like that on fire. Every time I stomp it, it goes, they shoot a fire turd out the side.
You played your own joke on yourself.
Exactly.
You're supposed to light the bag, leave it on there, and here you are.
What was the source of the smell? 844-999-OLA. Still to come, the return of Ted versus the FCC. Bad jokes on the way, and more your calls right after these. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Hola, bitch, hola. You have entered the men's room.
A Texas car salesman claims in a lawsuit that he's had to endure intentional flatulence and pinched nipples for over a year from his former boss. Brett Bland filed the lawsuit against Jerry Pratt of the dealership's parent company, CT Motors, which operates Auto Nation Acura Gulf Freeway in League City. Bland accuses Pratt of inappropriate behavior in the workplace and making vulgar and rude comments toward him, as well as creating a sexually hostile environment at work. Pratt reinforced dominance over his subordinates by regularly entering their enclosed offices, intentionally passing gas, and then laughing as they were forced to breathe in the soiled air, according to Brett Bland. Pratt was fired from the dealership after he passed a flyer out at work suggesting that Bland was a sexual offender.
Well,
wow, that's kind of taking it over the top. Bland also accuses the dealership of retaliating against him because of Pratt's firing, and Bland claimed that he was told he'd be fired if he failed to sell a certain amount of cars and that Pratt was allowed to hang around the facility even after he was fired. It is unclear if Bland continues to work at the dealership, as it is a continued pending legal matter in which they have no comment. Bland is seeking damages, but it's unclear how much he is seeking. Our question, what was the source of the smell? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Dustin. Welcome to the men's room. Hello, Dustin.
Hey, hola.
Hola. We need you, man. We need you.
What's going on, guys?
How are you, sir?
Not too bad.
Okay. So what was the source of the smell?
Source of the smell. So my college roommate and I, before I joined the Army, befriended a guy that lived across the hallway. He was a very annoying kid, and our room was the hangout room for video games. And one day I was going to class. He called me, said, "Hey, can I come in and play some video games?" I'm like, "Yeah." Gave him the key code to my door, which was a total mistake because every time I came home to my room, he'd be in there on my Xbox playing away on some video games, and didn't notice it at first, but my roommate and I, we always bought a 5-pound bag of gummy bears and Cheez-Its. And at the end of the week, we come back for the weekend and play video games, and all of our food is gone. So we plotted and planned on how to get back at this guy. And so we actually had the key code to his room, which he was not aware of. And so I went in there and I took a dump in his toilet, threw all the toilet paper in the trash can. Then my roommate took a dump in his toilet, threw all the paper towels in the trash can. And then we had a third guy who we took the lid to the toilet off, and then he double-deckered it. So now when we flush the toilet, it's just poop water coming out.
He upper-deckered what you'd already destroyed on the bottom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The upper decker is just a classic move if you can pull it off.
It is classic, but it is. I mean, that's a declaration
really
of war.
It is.
Right?
Yeah. The upper decker is. I mean, it's like, damn it.
Like, you'll be forgiven eventually, but there might be a few months where your friend's a little testy.
Yeah. You got to
like, man, I want to see you right now.
You got to use a half bottle of bleach and just pour it up there and give
now,
it time.
to be fair, this was in response to someone eating his gummy bears and cheeses, which I understand during those days of your life. Like, that's your meal, man.
Upper decker.
Yeah, that's. Have you done an upper decker? Jesus,
I know. I have been someplace where someone has done it to someone else, but I have never done it myself personally.
I've never done the same thing. My buddy Leon, Leon was the kind of guy though. You could go to the White House on a tour. Oh, excuse me, where's your restroom? And he'd whisper like, "I'm gonna upper decker that son of it." He was just that guy. So. Almost to the point it didn't matter, but if you knew him, right, if there's a party, he was a great guy, so you'd invite him over, but it's like, hey, man, do not upper decker my toilet. Like, right. So if you asked him not to, he wouldn't, but it's one of those things where it's like, hey, man, you might really want to say something. Oh, dude, he won't do it. It's like, I'm telling you, if you don't tell him not to, Leon is going to, because to him, it is the funniest thing in the world.
In hindsight, I would have done it a lot
funny.
more. That's the problem. In hindsight, I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I had a lot of opportunities there where I should have done that.
No offense, but also listen to how many stories where Leon got in fights and won.
No, listen. No, I understand.
Yeah, I'm saying, but I was like, you would have had to fight a lot more, I think, if you're upper decking.
Part of the look, and that is, and I thought about even bringing that up, but you're 100% right, Ted. Like, you weren't going to beat Leon up, and he knew you couldn't beat him up. And that's not why he did it, but it is what allowed him to do it, if you know what I mean. Like, he did it because few things brought him more pleasure. And what will be effed up? You could be at a party with like 20 people. You could be at a chick's house, right? And we're doing what we can, hopefully, to get lucky with these chicks. But, like, he'd walk out of the bathroom, and he would just give me this real quick smile. And I'm like, oh, my God, man. Like, I know.
It clogs.
I know that he just went in there and upper deck.
Do you stay at the party?
It's
for a little while, because by the time it's super evident that someone has pranked you, because keep in mind, when this goes on, we're all in our young 20s. Everyone is broken. Nobody's place is great. Mm-hmm. So the first couple of times you flush the toilet, you just assume it's because you live in an S-hole. And it's usually the next day when someone finally says,
well,
right, like the boyfriend, hey, let's take the lid off, see what's up. And he would do it all the time. And you're right. He couldn't beat him up, so he was going to do it, but he did it because he would laugh about it for hours.
It does depend on what you do and how you do it. And if you're like at a party, think of it like a bar of soap. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it just takes a little while to kind of wear down, but it's in there. Like
it's in there.
It'll keep bubbling for a while. Like it might not all be one time. It might be like, it might take 10 different attempts to get that whole thing out of there.
You know, Mike Hogg brought us a story yesterday about the toilet clogger of Sheboygan, which is a true thing. That guy was using plastic bottles. I'm telling you, if Leon were still alive and still did this stuff today, it'd be like a social media thing. They would get DNA, and you'd find out probably he's done it at hotels, local businesses. Like, he did not care. It was his mission to upper decker.
What was the source of the smell? 844-999-OLA.
He should be on a postage stamp.
His mission to upper decker.
His mission was to upper decker. Yeah, as soon as we're leaving the house, we're going here. Like,
I did see a guy pee on his own floor once.
On purpose?
He was just that drunk. It was his house.
All right. Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant on probably he's just mad at his mortgage or something. Hello, Craig. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So when I was a little kid, my parents had the bright idea to get me hamsters. And unfortunately, the hamster that they bought me ended up being pregnant.
Oh, yeah, that's Sheila the hamster.
That's all those little teeny tiny pink things.
It's like a bonus. Yeah. Extra hamsters.
God, those are small.
So the fun part was when the babies got a little bit bigger. So I had to get a second cage. Unfortunately, they were so tiny, but big enough that they could crawl around on their own. They found this gap in the top of this particular cage I kept them in.
Let me guess, they made bad decisions about where to go.
Very much so. We had a split level house with forced air heating system, and one of the heat ducts just happened to have a hole just large enough for them to crawl in.
Hang on. Finish this on. I just want to. I want to hear how we know where this is going. I want to know how bad it was.
How bad the stench was. What was the source of the smell? 844-999-OLA. More your calls coming up in seconds.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.